Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real.
And he's creeping it late.
Yeah,
but
just a little. Just a little late.
So this is super duper exciting for a few different reasons. One, of course, because of our amazing guest that we have tonight. But two, because it's officially our 1 year episode. 52, number 52. We've been posting an episode every week for the last 52 weeks.
That is
so
wild.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking nuts, right?
It's amazing to think about how much the world and our lives have changed so much in the last.
Wow, you got real deep. I was just talking about 1 year. Jeez.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Rob was like, let's talk about relationships.
Let's talk about the end of the world.
Oh, man.
To the rest of us.
Okay, so before we go down that path, let's bring on our guest. We're super excited. We have Justin Kobylka in the house. Let's get him up here.
Boom.
What's up, dude?
How you doing?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
I'm so pumped to have you on tonight, man.
I didn't know it was a special episode, like a anniversary episode. That's really awesome.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're pretty stoked. There's been a lot of weeks.
Yeah.
52 weeks.
Yeah. It's been a lot of planning, and then a lot of thinking, we're all set up, and then being like, oh crap, we're not set up, and then trying to fix audio issues and changing platforms and all this stuff. It's been wild.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's been a fun ride.
Sure.
How about this?
That's awesome.
Before we talk about more, what were you doing 1 year ago today? Because it's right around when the shutdown happened. What were you doing about a year ago today?
I would have been at Tinley, I think. If you count it would have been the same weekend in March. I would have been in Chicago this past weekend. I had brought my wife to go to the Tinley Park show, her first reptile show in like 12 years, and she was actually going to go with me. We had a sitter for the kids. We had it all set up, and like I was all excited because I think most people don't even know her or never met her. So, and then it just got canceled. We were there in Chicago downtown. We got the message. Yeah. Yeah. Painful.
Oh.
But boy, and you look back and you're like, you just shelter in place for about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks, it'll all be over.
3 weeks tops.
Be done.
Yeah.
They're already planning the Tinley show for like November. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
my God.
That's right.
And
Crazy.
here we are.
1
year later.
Still sheltering in place.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sort of. It's getting a little better, slowly but surely.
Yeah.
I guess.
All right. So for the people who might not have heard of you, I don't know how if you're anywhere related to reptiles in general, I don't know how they might not have, heard your name at least once. But for the people who might not have heard of you or know what you're doing, what really got your start in reptiles? What really drew you into reptiles?
Like most people, I think it was just somehow innate. As you're a kid, you somehow at some point something happens and you realize that you're drawn to the animals that everyone else is repulsed by. And I still remember the first time I ever saw a snake in the wild. We were living in Oklahoma, and there are tons of snakes in Oklahoma. Yeah. And I was walking in the field. We live way out in the country, and I walked in the field and I saw something move in the grass, and I parted the grass with my hands. And I saw I can only imagine, I think it was a black snake of some sort, but I just saw part of it. And my heart just skipped, but not in a bad way. It was like, that really rules. I saw something crazy, this great, crazy wild animal out there. My parents were scared to death of snakes, but ever since then, I've always if I could put my hands on it, I'd bring it in the house. I'd study it, and I kept tree frogs for a long time when I was like 10 to 13. I kept tree frogs, and I was in a lizard phase. And then I got into college, and I started doing colubrids, like cynoloans and milk snakes, and then ball pythons started about 2002 or 2003 for me, wild. And then just, it's one thing after another. And at some point, you start to get a little traction, I would do this for a living. That way I can feed my own hobby, and ball pythons where it's stuck.
It's amazing to me to like look back and see some of the things that were going on in the early 2000s with ball pythons, because like, you know, after like the spider came out and the pastel and then, you know, the pie balls and all that stuff, there's a couple things where like Reptiles magazine had posted a article on ball pythons, and they had like an albino in there and a piebald, and the center spread was a desert ghost, and then they had this weird like dark thing, and they're like, we don't know if this is going to prove out or not, and it's some weird dark, and if you look back, it's like a cinnamon. You're like, that's very clearly a cinnamon. I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, maybe it might be genetic, who knows?
Yeah.
And then, you know, now we're looking back like, wow, look at that.
That's right. The first clown ball python is like in a ball python book, and it says, you know, VPI something or other,
Yep.
probably not genetic, or not likely not genetic, or something it
Yeah.
says on the caption. And it's like,
And
boy,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's
Look at
crazy
it
to think
now.
about what it is now. Yeah.
that's right.
Clown Mac
Mhm.
thing.
That's right. It's just a bed. It's just the smallest part now of a huge tower we built above
Right?
it now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
that's
Oh
wild.
man.
And you know what? Even back then, clown was like one of my favorite. The first time I saw a clown, just like that black back on it, and then the head patterning, I was like,
Yeah. Like
that is
geeked.
amazing. That is such a unique looking snake. And then
Right.
to look at from there, when I thought that was cool, to look at the stuff that, you know, people are doing with it now, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know.
You could do
There's no way
that.
I could have
Yeah.
imagined what would be done with this morph, you know, down the road as things get mixed into. I mean, they'll probably think about the same thing like spiders. Because the first time I saw a picture of a bumblebee, it blew my mind. I was like, it's yellow and green eyes and white down the sides, and like, what the heck is going on? And they're like, yeah, it's, you know, just two genes. It's just two different genetic things going on, and we just put them together in the same snake. And I was just like, what? I don't understand. Like, I can
Yeah.
understand the recessive thing, and then the stacking of the genes, and holy moly, it's crazy to think about where we came from looking at those first couple combos to, you know,
And now.
yeah, to
Yeah.
now, where look at Kevin's snakes, and I'm like, what the heck is this? It's all
Yeah.
yellowy white, and it's got like a speck of black down there. And then looking at some of the stuff that you're doing, and with like these quadruple hets, and I'm like,
Mhm.
holy moly, like if you had shown me those things back then, I think my face would have just melted right off
Yeah.
my body. It would have just been like a glitch in the matrix.
That's the beauty of this, is that it's come so far, but it has been 20 years too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just about. So it's come along and improved at a pace that you can fully enjoy it the whole way, which I think is what some other species have lacked, is that you
Mhm.
can make so much progress so fast. It feels like you use a whirlwind. I mean, maybe how people look at ball pythons too, actually, but for me, I feel like just we push ahead the progress a little bit every year. We get to fully enjoy it, and then we just hope to do it again next year. And it's this endless cycle of the right amount of hardness, right amount of difficulty, I think.
Yeah. 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 And they really have been that perfect vehicle, you know, for all of this, you know, because I mean, if you think about like, you know, I mean, reticulated pythons or carpet pythons or stuff like that, that's just, it's bigger, notoriously a little bit more aggressive. Like if you had all of these different morph possibilities with retics or carpets or anything like that, I feel like you'd have the interest, but I feel like it would be a lot more narrow just because of size constraints and all of that kind of stuff. The ball pythons really have been that perfect vehicle where it's like the right size mixed with all that crazy color, and
Exactly.
it's just ridiculous.
See, I think back to like when Burmese pythons were like at their height of popularity, when, you know, albino Burmese pythons and the labyrinths and all that stuff were coming out, and there was just a lot of people getting them. And I feel like the difference between ball pythons and the Burmese python craze is like when you sell someone a ball python, like if Justin sells somebody a ball python, he can pretty confidently say, oh, this person's going to be able to take care of this thing and it's going to be fine.
Right.
Where back then with the Burmese pythons, you're like, just buy this thing and look at how cool it is. Don't think about how big it gets. Don't think about that. Like, just buy this.
Not just that though. Not just can we know they'll take care of it. We know they're going to get it home, and they're going to think, I want 3, 4, I want 10 more of these, and they can just put them all in a little tiny rack, and then they're like, well, I can just put another rack right next to it. And then you can't do that with Burmese pythons. You're never going to do that with Burmese pythons.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but wait, I thought they only grew to the size of their enclosure.
I mean, that's probably what they told the pet stores back then.
Yeah.
They were like, just keep them in a
I'm
small
sure.
tank.
Yeah.
Oh my
Exactly.
goodness. Oh man.
Oh gosh.
But that it's just thinking about the compare because Burmese pythons did have that huge kind of draw to them. Maybe not quite as big as the ball pythons, but I remember when I was growing up, a lot of people who are into snakes were just like, "Oh my god, I got a big yellow snake. I got a thing," and then they invite their friends over to watch it eat and stuff. And it's like, you can have one of those snakes, but it's hard. You can't have 5, 10, 20 of them for the average person. Whereas ball pythons, it's not unreasonable for a regular person to have 5 or 10 ball pythons. It's not unmanageable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to make that seem as normal as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what?
Exactly.
It works for you better than it does for me because I look like a weirdo and you look like a regular person that I could meet at like Starbucks. So like they see Justin and they're
Just
like,
was there.
right? Exactly. They look at him and they're like, he looks like a regular, not weirdo. I'm a regular, not weirdo. I could get a pet snake. Look at how clean cut he
See?
is.
Yeah.
He's got a nice family.
The
that he
lifestyle
loves.
doesn't have to come with the snake, unfortunately. right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. I think that's great
No,
because that's what our
it's
hobby
great.
needs.
It really
It
that
really
that
does.
diversity is really key. I mean, one of the US Arc live streams we did at Nerd, we were talking about that. Like it was you,
Yes.
me, and Kevin in the room, and you were like, "Look at the three of us. We all look very different,
Yes.
and we all do the same ridiculous thing,
Yeah.
which is own snakes."
Because
Right.
25 years ago, you had asked, told somebody you had 25 snakes, and they would even reptile people would be like, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
25? How many aquariums do you have in your house?"
Yeah.
Like,
So I have the perfect story for that because as you know, and you guys have enough animals that you after a while you've lost any sense of judgment on how many is too many reptiles.
Yeah.
I have
What's
no
one
sense
more?
of scale. I have no sense of scale whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was talking to this guy. He lives here in Georgia. He has like a zoo, like a literal little. It's not private, it's small zoo.
Mhm.
And he said something about, you should come and pet the tigers. And I said, tigers with an S? He's like, yeah. I'm like, how many tigers do you have? He goes, 6. And I go, 6 tigers? Now I've never been on the other side of that coin before.
Yeah.
Now I know how people feel. And I ask, how many snakes do you have? I don't know, 100? 100 snakes? Like I know now what it's like on the other side. I've never felt that way before. That moment, I was like, okay, I get it.
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That
6
really is
tigers.
great. Yeah, 6 tigers. That's a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see Tiger King? There's a lot of tigers
Right.
in the United States.
That's true.
Apparently.
That is true. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna laugh about that one for a while. Just 6
Yeah.
tigers.
that would be my. That would
I'm
be the
seeing a
first thing out of
ripple
my
of
mouth.
2,500 snakes, and I'm thinking 6 tigers is like ridiculous,
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, it only takes one tiger to end your life. It would probably take
Right.
all of your ball pythons
All at
biting you at
once.
the same time to
They
do
have to
some real
gang up.
damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. So okay. I came down to see you not that long ago, and we got to talk about some different things. And there's one question that I asked you down there that I think some people would be interested in hearing, and that's like, so you've got some incredible projects happening. There's obviously no denying that. So what is one of those things that goes through your head before you pull a trigger on a certain project, like either going in that direction or adding a project into your collection?
I don't know. I'm not very good at rules. I don't have a lot of rules for how I run a business.
Yeah.
I really have a sense for it. I have this sense for like, this is kind of where I want to go, and I'm constantly editing it. That's the thing
Yeah.
about these snakes, is that as you develop these projects, they usually go routes that you never expected, because you see the result of something and you think, well, that's not what I thought. But now that gives me the idea for this, and they're very, it's a crooked path to get to the
Right.
Pompeii or something like that. It's not, I want that. I want a red snake like that. I never could have imagined that when I started.
Yeah.
So I look at it, from a very practical standpoint. I look at it, in the market, because there's what project do you want when it comes to purchases. What project do you want, and then when is the time to buy it? you know, and I kind of just have this sense for when I feel like, okay, the project's in a stable place. I try not to buy at the very beginning of something usually, unless you're the first person in. You don't want to be the third, fourth person in. You want to be the first person in or the 30th person in. That's usually where I try to be, one of the first or 30th. On most things, but I don't know. I unfortunately I don't have any like word of wisdom. Maybe I told you something when you were here that stuck in your mind that I'm forgetting now. But
well, I think that was literally just it. What you just said. You either want to be first or 30th in that project, because so many people, like, they'll see that project and then immediately want to like jump onto it, you know, because they see like one or two cool things that it might have done, but you know, so much of that groundwork still has yet to be done. So you might say, hey, with Yellow Belly, the smuggler ball,
oh boy,
looks really great, you know, but with everything else it looks like doo-doo. So you just got to keep it in the Yellow Belly complex, and then it's not really worth it. But if you're the second, third, fourth, or fifth person in that line, you might not know that. You know.
Yeah, you might not know that, or you might be the one that bought in right before the major price drop when everybody figures it out, you know. Or you'll get to that zone where people are undercutting everyone because the price doesn't support the demand, or or vice versa. And so that's the challenge of it. And usually when you get to having a big collection like mine, it's hard to lose. I can leverage almost anything because I have really nice snakes to put it to. But I do recommend for people who don't necessarily have a really high end, collection, to be real careful about your buying timing. When a snake gets down, we kind of, the nice thing about ball pythons is, for like the last, I would say 5 years, we've kind of normalized the market for them. Doesn't mean there's weird, stuff going crazy, but for the most part, we have kind of pricing tiers where you have, I would say 5,000 and under is, nice snakes. 7,500 is you're getting some of the more cutting edge stuff, and anything over 10,000, it better be great. That's kind of how we're at right now.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is that compared to how it used to be like this, now you can pretty much, everything kind of falls into that. There's very few times you're gonna be spending much more than 10 on anything. And nowadays, if once it gets past into the $5,000 range, it's going to go tick, 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 and you can buy it anywhere in that zone, and you'll do fine. It's not going to just suddenly go down to 3,000 from 5,000 next day, and we're going down to 500 the next day. It's not going to happen.
Right.
It's a very stable market now compared to how it used to be. So I think a lot of people can be much more confident in their purchases now than compared to later.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely feel that. Yeah.
So my question is, how do you feel that Morph Market, the coming out of Morph Market and the way that they have their website set up? Because when King Snake was going on, people were just like slanging things everywhere, and there was no real rhyme or reason. And if you wanted to find a snake, you had to go through 500 ads to find the one combo that you're looking for. But Morph Market now being able to sort by morph or combo and find exactly that thing that's got the genes that you're looking for. How do you think that's influenced the ball python game?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Morph Market effect is exactly, but I think it's overall very positive, because I think what Morph Market's done is given a lot of people, taken away the barrier to entry as far as sales go for most smaller keepers, because they're able to put their snakes right next to mine, on Morph Market, and if they have a good picture and it's the animal that people want, there's no reason why it wouldn't sell. I think that it really has allowed a lot of people to get traction early on.
Yeah.
And it does help kind of keep prices, normalized again, like that. Just you kind of want to be in line with what's there, and you still have some crazy speculative stuff, but that stuff kind of gets weeded out much faster,
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I actually just suggested change to John that he because what was happening is people were putting inquire, or they weren't pricing their animals.
I hate
and
that.
It would and it would put them first in line when you sorted highest to lowest.
Really?
They put them high. And I'm like, John, you're just encouraging everybody to not price their animals. Put them last if you sort highest to lowest, if they put inquire, and they made that switch. And I feel like it's really positive. And now people are actually incentivized to just put a number on it, and get out there with your gut and make some stuff happen. So
Yeah, I never understood the Inquire thing, because it's like, come on, man.
Thing ever made, like, unless you are, at that $10,000 price tier, come on, put a price on it. Like, what the heck?
I always look at it as like, this person wants to play games with me, and I don't
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
I don't want that.
Yep.
They just want to play games with me. They don't want to know. They don't want to have a real conversation. They want to price it different than the last guy they talked to. And I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly, like, if this was 12 years ago, that would be one of those things where you're like, oh my God, that's got to be the coolest thing ever, and so worth it. But yeah, now it's like, dude,
I'm looking at
just
it.
put
like,
a number at it.
They're gonna tell this guy one price, and then they're gonna tell me
Another
$5,000 more.
Yeah,
because I'm me, and it's like,
yeah,
no,
it's the ears.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Right.
Oh man, I gotta bust your balls a little bit, because you were late.
Go right in one ear and right there.
Yeah. Okay, listen, Mr. Comedian guy. I have to ask you about your stand-up comedy. How long have you been prepping that? Because if people don't know, Justin did do stand-up comedy, and I watched it, and I enjoyed it. What really drove you to stand-up comedy? Because what I want to see is, I want to see a bunch of reptile guys or reptile people do some stand-up comedy at Tinley, because I got jokes that are really funny, but only to reptile people that I couldn't tell at a regular setting. So, like, you can't be like, well, this guy couldn't tell a green tree python from a Amazon basin. What is going on here? And this is not funny to anyone but reptile people.
What's the deal with that? Yeah.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? Overnight shipping. It's
So I've always loved stand-up. I've loved comedy my whole life, and is actually the one set that I put on YouTube. That's the only time I've ever gotten up so far. And I didn't even plan it until I was in the room. Like, I literally walked in there, and they're like, "You should go on." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, just let up and go on." And so I literally sat down there, and as I was listening to other guys, I was writing down on my phone what I wanted to say. But man, I loved it. I loved it so much. It was so fun. I want to do it again. I think probably the next month or so, I'm gonna get up there and do it again. And this time I'll be prepared. Like, I'll actually have something planned out. But that's hilarious you mentioned that, though, because I thought, there's like maybe 100 people in the room at the club where I went, and they put it on YouTube, and we got, I don't know, 6,000 views in just a few days. And I thought, really, it's kind of funny. It'd be hilarious if I got up there at the club and be like, "All right, I'm gonna tell a bunch of reptile jokes, you guys. These aren't for you.
They're not for you.
Don't laugh. They're not gonna be funny at all. You guys are nothing. I got a huge audience on YouTube, guys. So just hear your props." And they tell a bunch of, like, ball jokes and hemipene, two hemipines, that sort of thing, and like have it all go over their head, and then just post it online and kill it. That'd be funny.
Would be so funny.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm just saying you should do that.
If you can handle the awkwardness of all these people being like, "Did he just say two penises? What is going on right now?"
That's right.
If you can handle that in person, it would be so worth it for the YouTube video later.
That's right. But it's fun though. I think it'd be a fun second chapter. I mean, I don't think I'll ever do it as a career or anything, but it's a very hard job. But just the fun of getting up there like once a year would be, for the rest of my life, would be amazing.
I'm telling you, we got to talk to Brian Potter, and we'll do it at the auction.
Oh, doing it at a Tinley auction? Oh my God! Yes. Everyone's sloshing. I was gonna say, it's perfect. The audience is already warmed up.
That's right. They're warmed up.
Get up there. My anaconda did want some, and there was no buns involved.
Yeah.
That's right.
I scented it with chicks, amazingly.
Amazing, and it still didn't want any.
Just all that wop. I don't know.
No.
Oh, that's great.
Good stuff.
That really is great. Oh my God.
So I have to ask, this is like completely unrelated to what we were just talking about, but do you do any field herping? Because like, I feel like a lot of people who, are like into breeding and stuff like that, they might go field herping if someone like takes them out and is like, let's go field herping. But a lot of them are like, I don't know, field herping is not really my jam. But seeing
Yeah, why
snakes in
go
the wild
outside
for
when
you,
I got it right in the drawer?
well, it's not the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
because like when you were a kid and you saw that, that black snake out in the wild, you get that like your heart starts going.
yeah.
You're just like, oh man, finding this thing. It's like that unique experience that you can't like match. Like getting a new snake is exciting, but seeing a snake that you weren't expecting to see in the wild, oh man,
Yeah.
that like super geeks
Yeah.
me out.
I haven't done it in a long time. I did it a ton as a teenager, a ton. In my 20s, my idea of a good weekend would be to go out. In fact, my wife hated me going on hikes with me because I would leave the trail and square of the mountainside. Like I'm going to flip every rock on this entire mountainside, and but nowadays I don't ever get to do that anymore. Not much. In a way, I think the excitement of hatching something that you didn't expect to see is similar to flipping a rock and seeing something you didn't expect to see.
For sure.
Yeah, I can dig that. I can dig that.
See, I'm starting to like look around at different places now, and I'm like, I need to go see snakes out there. I need to. Because during the wintertime up here, there's nothing to do, so I'm just sitting here going stir crazy. Like I'm breeding snakes, but like,
yeah, there's no eggs. There's nothing exciting that's gonna pop
This is
out
hard.
at me.
This is the hard time of year. It always is.
Yeah.
Always is.
do you have any hobbies that keep you like occupied while the eggs are incubating? Because like just sitting there and watching that 60 days tick down is just.
Yeah, I try to get out of the building as much as I can. So I do mountain biking some. But the thing I'm kind of getting to more is cars. Started doing some track days,
Cool.
on
very
the
cool.
weekends sometimes. Yeah, starting to expand that hobby. It's a fun hobby, and it's plenty of stuff to keep you busy with that. So
I take it. Did Kevin show you any of his Camaros when you were here?
No.
Bad jokes.
Yeah, they're bad. That's a
It's
bad joke.
jokes.
We give Kevin crap because he drives that wonderful white van that's always parked in the parking lot.
Yeah.
But we're like, you're the evil morph god. Where's all your Camaros
Where's
and
your
like all these
Right.
really
Cars.
cool sports cars? And he's like, no, I don't do that. So we always give him a hard time on the Camaro. So I
great.
had to throw it in there.
That's great. No, he needs like some sort of black, I don't know, something
Just says
something
Satan
really
on the
sinister
license
looking.
plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. A ball out of hell.
That's right.
There's your bad joke.
I
There you go.
picture like a all black sports car with Slayer on the hood, and just like, really, who drives a Slayer car? Oh, that's Kevin.
That's Kevin. Yeah, I bet you Carrie would sue him just to joke around.
Just for fun.
Like,
for
that's
fun.
trademark,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
He's like, I'm not making money on this car. Leave me
Right.
alone.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy. So you've gotten a variety of
Mm.
different projects to go in your facility. Like you picked up Bolins from us, and you got a couple, the Black Dragon, and a couple other things I've noticed.
Right.
What is that like for you? Because I mean, you've been so hyper focused on the ball pythons. Have you always had like a sprinkling of other things, or was there a time where you're just like, nope, it's just focus on the ball pythons for now, and then branch out later?
Yeah. It's only been like the last, I think, 3 or 4 years that I finally got something else. When I really took off with the ball pythons, I got rid of everything that I had previously that was different, which wasn't anything really special. It's just the animals I had been breeding. But I think when it comes to the business side of this, specialization is so important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends on how deep you want to go. But for me, I wanted this to be my career. I wanted it to be my career and not cutting any corners with any of my dreams of what I wanted in life. So like I just like went in and like, I'm going to be the best at this. I'm going to have just focused on everything there is to do it. If there's anything I can do extra work to move the needle, to jump further ahead, and especially beginning, because most of all of us were just trying to get to Kevin's level when we first came into this industry. Kevin and Ralph and all the different guys, the Sutherlands and Barchek, and we all wanted to be them, right? And we saw how steep that climb would be just to make up for the years of head start they had and all the crazy stuff they were making. So for me, it was like nose to the grindstone, 1,000% focus for air a little bit, and said, wow, made some progress. We're up there at the top, close to the top now. So So yeah, so just now I'm starting to think, man, I kind of have this dialed in. I know what I'm doing. I have employees now to actually help. What could I like to actually play with some of these animals? And that's, I think, the first thing I got was a pair of Cape file
cool.
snakes from Africa, and from South Africa, and they're captive bred and they're rodent eaters and they're phenomenal, beautiful animals. They're so cool. They're like the dragon snake almost. Basically, a cheap version of the dragon snake.
The better version of the
right?
dragon snake, because dragon
Right,
snakes
they
are
don't-
like
you-
this long,
Don't kill them.
and
Yeah.
like that big around.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I like those
yes,
Cape files.
I like them
Those are
a
cool.
lot better than the dragon snakes personally. Because we've had dragon snakes at Nerd.
So I got a pair of those, and yeah. You did. Oh, I didn't see
We-
any. Yeah, I should've seen
No,
them.
we sold them. We got them in. We
Oh,
had them
okay.
for a couple months, and then we sold them because I was like, I don't want these here. Get these out of here. These are not things that we should keep around. It's just Nerd is not the right climate for those snakes. Like, there's no place during the summertime.
Right.
There's no place in the store for those
That's
snakes.
cool enough,
It
yeah.
just they need to be cooler than we keep it in that store.
Hmm.
But we did okay
Yeah.
with them.
But then I got the bowlings from Kevin, and that to me that's I didn't even know I knew there's a special snake that I always wanted, but man, I was underestimate how cool they are, and such a dream snake. Then the
Rob
monitor
doesn't like them.
really, I don't really have much else other than those. So far, we have a couple, geckos and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. Rob's not the biggest fan of Bolin's pythons,
I'm not. They're super messy. So
but he doesn't like to have to clean up poop.
they're just super messy. I don't know.
Do have big poops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. They're iridescent. That's why. I get that's why people like them. They're shiny
So are golden childs, though. They're shiny too.
and a lot less expensive.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
See, I like my scrubs. My scrubs are just as shiny. It's just they're not as poopy.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
is that how you're gonna describe them
Yes.
when
that's
you
exact-
sell them to people?
I'm
Like,
not going to
listen,
sell scrubs to people. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? They're all for me.
Yeah. You're like, listen, they're just like Bolin's pythons, but they're not as poopy and they're
No.
just cooler.
No, I don't want to compare them to Bolins.
No?
No.
Okay. All right. I think you're missing out on an opportunity there.
I know.
The
I could
less
just-
poopy Bolin's
I should just
python.
post a picture of like a black white lip python and then a Bolin's python, and it'd be like, if you think that these are cool, then get one that hates you more. Like, get a scrub.
Oh man.
Uh,
I'm hearing all
Right.
this, and all I'm thinking is, yeah, Tinley needs to have this whole stand-up thing happen.
I would love that. I'm just saying. I think it'd be really funny to get 4 or 5 reptile people to just do a quick little stand-up thing.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that I get,
great.
just like people at the store who call, like we have you saw the mangrove snakes while you were out here, and we posted about them online quite a bit, and we had somebody call the store and they were like,
Oh.
do you got any of them those Boiga, what is it, the Boiga melatonails, do you have any of those? And I was like, a what? Excuse? And they're like, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I just read it online. I don't know if it's it's one of those like mangrove snakes. And I was like, oh, melanota. Melanota.
Yeah,
Terrible.
listening to your intercom there at Nerd, I was like, man, this is a rough job, because I don't even know who was coming over the intercom, but somebody could be like, hey, line 3, someone's got a question about, I don't know, some species that I don't even know. I'm like, I wouldn't want to take that call, because I don't know. You don't know what you're gonna find on the other side when you take that call.
That
It-
is
It's a
And
surprise
Kevin's
every
like,
time.
we don't even have those. I'm like, Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah, that is a constant.
Constantly that. Yeah.
Today was pretty intense. It was like every other phone call was a call for
Was a
nerd.
call for
and
nerd.
It was
Oh my goodness.
it was
And
intense.
we're packing shipments and stuff and trying to answer these phone calls. The person's like, I bought a thing that wasn't from you. Can you help me fix it? Because it's messed up. And we get
Right.
47 of those phone calls a day. And then they want to tell us their whole life story. And I'm like, have you checked out our
And
YouTube
if you
channel?
don't answer or you cut them short, then
Then
you
we're
know
the
Kevin's
assholes.
such an elitist, and he won't even take phone calls from regular folk anymore.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
It's funny because you can hear when people figure out that it's Kevin on the phone. Like if he answers the phone,
Oh
they're
yeah.
like, hold on a second.
Is
this Kevin?
Is this Kevin?
He's like,
Is this?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
this is,
this
yeah,
is Kevin.
yeah, this is Kevin. And then it's another 13 minutes of,
them
oh
being
my
like,
God, Kevin, I love you.
YouTube
I love you
videos."
so much. You're amazing. Your ponytail's cool. Like,
Do you ever get that
yeah,
on your social
great.
media where people are like, oh my God, Justin just responded to me? Like, oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like, who else would it be? I'm the only guy here. I have time, but yeah.
You're like, this is Justin Kobylka Reptiles. And my name's Chad. I'm just here to answer all
Yeah.
your questions today.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, for the longest time when Donnie was answering all of Kevin's old
Oh,
IG DMs,
People thought
he was just sending him pictures of his foot
like his sneaker and
just to
stuff.
mess around with people because Kevin
What?
never checks. So not the nerd DMs, but Kevin's personal DMs on the Evil Morph God account because Kevin just doesn't look at his
He doesn't read
DMs.
any
He would
messages.
be so overwhelmed.
If I message him on
Sure.
Instagram, he does not read it. Like, and I'm like, I'm right now. I'm telling you to check your messages right now. I'm sending you something you will appreciate. It's cool. Read your message. He's like, I don't check my messages. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. So when Donnie took over that account, he was like, yeah, there's like some messages from like 6 years ago or whatever that he just never responded to. So I just sent him a picture of my shoe, like with my foot in my shoe. And people are like, oh my God, it's Kevin's foot.
Kevin responded. He
Like,
responded back.
it was crazy.
Oh my Lanta.
So
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So great.
So not that I'm saying you should leave anybody on red for a few years and then send them a sneaker pic, but
no.
I don't like leaving people on red. I always feel like they're gonna go tell everybody that
Right.
that I'm an elitist or anything. I'd rather not read a DM and leave it for a
Unread.
year than I'm gonna try to say something if I read it. That's my goal. Say something.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, hey, cool snake.
Yeah, just
You
like
know,
the
and then a lot of
message.
times it's
Yeah.
a picture of the snake, like cool snake. Like
Yeah.
to me that's very dismissive to say that. But if I don't say it, then I'm really in trouble. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's so
Exactly,
crazy
yeah.
that these people, like people who have never met you, never spent money with you, never talked to you before, like feel entitled to your time like that. And it's like you realize that I've got like lots of customers that I deal with and people that I've
they
got a
don't
family
realize
and all-
that though. They
Exactly.
don't think about it. They don't think about anything, any of those things. That's what it comes. After a while, you figure that out. Is like they're not malicious. They just literally do not think about what their the situation is whatsoever when they send that message. And
Yeah.
it's like with someone asking me like how to feed their snake is like me like asking Dr. Fauci personally if I should wear a mask. It's like
right.
there's other people who can answer this.
Right? Have you done a YouTube search at all?
Yeah.
At
Right.
all? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Please.
Like you don't have to go to the top to get this information. You just
Yes.
get
Yeah.
it from anywhere, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
So
It's okay.
do
I'm
you
thankful for I'll hate the day that just go away and nobody cares anymore. So
For sure. For sure.
I'm thankful for it.
Ride the wave while you got it, man.
Yeah.
So do you have like time that you've set aside? Like, okay, I don't touch my phone for, Sunday afternoons. That's my family time. Just do that.
I need to. I don't. I'm bad. I try to like focus on the family, especially on Sundays.
Yeah.
But honestly, every day I think I try to batch my messages and everything. I do have someone now officially helping me with my messages online, so that's helpful. But like even my texts, usually I'll just say like I'll just see tons of texts coming in, and I tried my best not to read them at all, and then I sit down and like okay, I'm just gonna try and knock through as many of these as possible. Problem is every time you respond to somebody, they respond back.
Right back.
And then
back.
unread. I was trying to go away. I want that message I don't want to see it. And then bam, it comes back.
They're those people who like they feel like they have to have that last message back to you.
Right.
Oh yeah. That's the
Oh.
worst. That's the worst.
Conversation.
Well, now you can just like the message.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Legit.
That's
best
where I leave
thing
it.
ever.
I just give it the quick little like, and I'm like, okay, that's the response. I don't need to say anything back.
Mhm. That
They
counts.
can't like my like. They can't like my like.
That's so
That's
true.
great.
That's so true. That is one. I don't know. Because I don't have an Android. I don't know if you can do it on Android. Like when somebody texts you, can you react to a text?
No.
Yeah, you can do that on iPhone.
I
so
know.
that's an up on iPhones just to be able
Ooh.
to do that exact thing. Just like
Yes,
that, man.
it
Give it a
is.
quick little thumbs up, and you're good to go.
I
Keep
tell
it
people
moving.
not to
Yeah.
text me. I just have them message me on Instagram. Like
That's also true. That's also true.
See, I hate
Rob-
Instagram. To me, it's so hard to keep up with messages on Instagram because I can never find. I'm never can search people's
person.
username versus their personal
Yeah.
name versus their business name, and you try to correlate those three.
Oh yeah,
I,
no, it's game
it's
over.
horrible.
it is a little
Yeah.
tougher. I'll give you that.
Yep, it's game over. But Rob's an IG pro,
I
so
am on IG more than most other things.
yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are there any like species that you're looking at? You're like, oh man, I need one of those. Or like, I know you just recently got the black dragon, and like,
Yeah.
they're so cool. But
Honestly, I like a few of them. I like the mangroves. I've had it since I was a kid. The mangroves have been like one of my dream snakes. I don't know why. I just saw a picture in the book, and that yellow and the black just got me, you know.
the big
And
eyes.
so
Yeah.
right, seeing him there at Nerd's the first time I've actually ever touched one in person.
Really?
Touched one. And to me, I was fascinated by their eyes. The fact that you can see them like looking around.
Yeah,
Their
twitching. Yep.
pupils move.
Just like
Yeah.
You don't
yeah,
typically see snakes do that. That was
Yeah.
wild. Like that took them to another level in my mind.
Mhm.
So I definitely want to get those. Kevin was cagey when I asked him about selling any of them, though. I know he
Oh,
must
no.
sell some of them. He must
No,
sell some,
no,
though,
no,
right?
Not
Really?
Any of the stuff that's like we've kept everything for the last 2 years.
Well, there's gonna come a point. I hope someday. But yeah, because I asked him, and he was just like really like you know when somebody doesn't want to sell you something. He didn't tell me no, but
Yeah, but he,
like
he
I'm
was
not
just
like
like
he like mumbled something under his breath. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
And walked away, like immediately walked
exactly.
away. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He didn't, like you left the
Yeah.
drawer open. He's like, I get it. And then just walks
He
away.
didn't
Yeah.
want to make it. He didn't want to make it uncomfortable, but he was trying to tell me no. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I've gotten that
yeah.
from him numerous times on
I'm
different things.
I work here. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. You got
Yeah, you can't escape
You
me.
can't just walk away.
Yeah, exactly. There's something else too. It's a snake. It's a lizard. I don't know why I fell in love with this lizard once. I saw one when I was in China last. And not even from China. It's from Africa. Gastropholus praecina. It's
Ooh,
the green.
yes.
They got the red
With
tongues.
the tongue.
Yeah.
That's the kiss lizard, man, isn't it?
Right.
Like, you combine that with a black dragon, and you're in good
Yes.
shape, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
I like
my
that
God.
snake. I don't know why I like that lizard. I want to have one. It's just a weird thing.
And
They're
those
not
are-
that hard to get a hold of.
They're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
No, they're being bred pretty
Yeah.
readily in captivity, so it's not something that's like
Right.
unattainable. Because like I see a lot of people who like their dream lizard is like a sun gazer, and I'm like, ha, ha, ha. Good luck, never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
For
not
sure.
gonna happen for you. Or like the Nautinus geckos. Have you seen those? If you like the Gastrophus, Nautinus geckos are like
Is
ah.
that the New Zealand one?
Yeah,
No.
the all
Oh,
green
yeah,
ones
yeah,
with
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
gray, pattern
Yeah.
on them.
You can't get those. You can't get those, can you?
No, there
like,
are some
they're-
in the United States. There's probably
Really?
two dozen in the U.S. They're super rare. They're like $8,000 each when you find them, and they only let you need to keep it in a room that's like 60 degrees with like a little basking spot, ventilated screen cages
Yeah,
and stuff.
chilly.
But I know people within 2 hours of us that have some.
I didn't even
We
know
need
that.
to talk about that thing. That's another dream one
Oh,
for me.
they are
Yeah.
so cool.
Those
So-
things
They're
are
like
super
frogs.
cool.
They look like frog
Right,
lizards.
Yes.
Don't they? Their
Yeah.
eyes look like frogs.
Yes. So,
crazy.
funny story about that species because I've been like lusting after those things for 15 years since I was like a child, basically. And I didn't know that anyone around here had them until I went to a Massachusetts Reptile Expo, which is like a smaller expo. Like it was held in like a really small room. It was like maybe 50 vendors total.
Yeah.
And it was like pretty packed. And I'm walking around, I'm like doing my little lap and looking at things. And I look in this this booth has got a lot of like live planted vivariums and stuff. And inside one of them, I see this like bright green gecko just sitting there. And I'm like, that looks a hell of a lot like a Naltinus gecko, but who the hell would have a Naltinus gecko at a Massachusetts Reptile Expo? And so I was like, I like completely brushed it off. And I was like, there's a plastic lizard in there. And so like I walked by, I didn't think anything of it. I came back and I was talking to somebody like a couple feet away from the booth and I saw it move. And I was like, stop. And I like told the person, I was like, stop for a second. And I walked over and I looked in there and I saw it like look at me and I was like, holy crap, a Naltinus gecko. Are you kidding me right now? And I'm losing my shit. And the person at the booth, I don't know if he wants me to say who it is.
Probably not.
Just say it. Just say it. Who
Caden.
cares?
His name's Caden. And I was like, holy crap, Naltinus gecko. And he's just beaming. He's just like, you know
like,
what it is.
somebody knows what's
nobody
up.
else knew what it was.
Special.
Nobody cared. Like people were just
Mhm.
walking right by. And I'm sitting there losing my shit. And he's like, yeah, I've got some Naltinus geckos. I was like, you have more than one? Are you kidding me right now? Like, yeah, I got a small group. It's no big deal. I mean,
That's
and I was
crazy.
like, oh my God. And I just sat there staring at it for the next half hour. I was like, oh my God, that thing's so cool. Oh.
I don't even know how you get them, honestly, because like my understanding is that they're just basically impossible to import,
Yes.
even from Europe, where they have captive bred lines. Like they're not accepting paperwork for them
Yeah.
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 to bring them in.
There
That's
are
wild.
a few. I've seen at least 5 people who have them in the U.S. right now.
That's crazy.
So
Mm.
not completely not there, but they are super rare.
Right.
Only a few people working with them. They don't really have a high production rate. So those people are
Right.
just like networking with each other and trying to
get it
make more of
established.
them.
Yeah.
But man, and he posts pictures of them every now and again, and I'm like, oh my God, they're so cool. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
Not-
Yeah, I would have
Like those,
I would have
like-
lost my shit if I
Yeah.
saw those. Yeah.
Mm,
Big
it was a
time.
good show. It was a good show.
I like Cinesaurus. I'd like to get some Cinesaurus.
Which
They're
species?
cool. Ooh, I don't know enough about it to say. I like the. I don't know.
Okay. There are some
This
really
Chinese
cool.
crocodile lizard. This is what I know. Yeah.
No! I thought you were talking about Sinosaurus, like the spiny iguanas, and I was like, that's a weird one. Okay. You
No,
meant,
no.
like, Shinosaurus.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, oh my God. I would not have pegged you as a rock iguana guy, like, or a spiny
No.
tail iguana guy. Like, oh no, Shinosaurus are awesome, and there's like a decent amount of people who are breeding those too. Wait, do you know
Yeah.
Josh Ortiz?
Yeah. I know of him. I don't think I know him personally.
He's got some Shinosaurus.
He does. He's got some
They're
nice.
Okay.
super nice.
Yeah,
Super,
he
and
does.
he's
in South Carolina. Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down here.
Boom.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.
So you're welcome, Josh Ortiz.
Yeah.
Well, that's my backyard. It's in South Carolina. So that's great.
Yeah.
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 Yep. I dig it.
Dude, I remember the first time seeing Shinosaurus in person, and I was just like, its head's so small. Like they've got this like short bulldog
so
head,
true.
and they're just like these.
Well,
they're,
everything
like,
about him says alligator, and then the head is like a regular lizard.
not
head, right?
alligator. It's
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like toad-headed
You're like-
agama.
You're like, so how did this
Yeah.
happen?
Right.
Oh my god!
That's amazing.
And from those, I look at like the Cayman lizards, and they had some. I think it was at the Shed Aquarium, and they had some big ones, and I was just like, "Holy moly! I've never seen ones that
It's
giant
impressive
before.
when you
They're
see
so
those like
cool."
massive adults. Yeah.
And then the Shinosaurus are like, beep, little itty bitties.
Yeah. Too good. Too good.
That's awesome.
Trying to think what is a project that you're excited about, or something that you're excited for this season that you're hoping to produce or looking forward to?
It's hard to say because I have so many different things that I'm working on. I'm always trying to just take them one step further than I already have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm interested in a lot of Desert Ghost clown stuff. I feel like that's kind of the next level of clown.
Yes,
We're working really
yes.
hard on that. Yeah, because I wouldn't say we've peaked with clowns, but we've gone so far with them that it feels like they're just what else could we possibly do? But we know we can make every one of them better with Desert Ghost. So it's just like a
Yup.
no-brainer. Turn it on,
Yep.
you know. So that I'm interested in the G-stripe clown stuff a lot. I think that's got a very unique pattern to it. I think it's got a ton of potential. Pieds. This is gonna be a big year for pieds for us. You know, it seems like for me, clowns and pieds like take every other year. If clowns will do great, then pieds do great, and just this can be a pied year for me. But honestly, I love pieds, and again, we're doing Desert Ghost pieds like crazy. But we've gotten pieds so bright, so clean, so orange. Is like, well, how do you make them more orange than like neon pure orange? Like you, in a way, you don't want to ever peak, and we've almost peaked in pieds. It's hard to know how to make them any cleaner or any brighter than we've gotten them over time. Now we still have made very, very few of those. You still make more, but to me, I'm not really interested. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I'm curious to see where that goes this year.
I dig it. I was gonna say before he started answering, like, the resounding everything. Yeah, man.
It's true.
I forgot exactly what the combo was, but one of those like crazy enchy lavender combos that you'd pulled out when I was there, just like that, like starburst coloration. I was like, oh my god, I want to eat this. Like,
What?
why is that?
What?
Like, dude, it looked like candy.
Yeah.
It really did.
That's the cool thing. That's the cool thing on these projects is that you can take them and you feel like, just like with pieds, like I'm not sure what to do next. With lavenders, I was there. I didn't know what to do next. I was putting them into dark stuff, and suddenly we got the starburst, and like suddenly we have now 10 more years of work to do. Just just pulling on that one little string of interesting thing we found, and year after year, I've found that just when you think that I can't, really, there's no obvious path, you just start tinkering with stuff in an obvious path suddenly, and then you got 5 more years of work, and then it's just. You never run out. So far, we've never run out.
Yeah, which is amazing and definitely a testament to the genetic diversity of ball pythons.
Like, it's funny to me because I talk to some people and they're like, well, ball pythons have played themselves out. And I'm like, have you looked at ball pythons recently?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yes, there are a lot of things that have been done. But when you look at what's been done and then how you can take those and meld those things together to create more things, it's not done. It's definitely not done.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it mathematically, we are barely started. Mathematically.
That's terrifying.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of things you can make that don't look any better, but that's really what this industry is all about. And the people, I think that's what separates people who are serious over a long period of time is that they have all the things that could be done, but they're working in that little angle that really where there's a lot of leverage to make something very different, and they're not, and it's a lot of collection. I think one edge I've had through all this is I'm really, really big on collection management and curation. Like I'm always like, I look at all my projects like almost like the stock market. Sometimes you want to be in stock, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you want to be heavily leveraged over here, and sometimes you want none of those because they're falling like a rock and there's nothing right. And so what we've seen is like over time we're always trying to balance those levels because what we want is we want that very interesting new thing, but we don't want any of the genes that are going to cover it up and make it not happen for you. So you're always like, okay, I need a little bit more Mojave. Oh no, Mojave clashes with butter and pastel and all this other stuff. It's like, okay, I need a little less Mojave, but with something like Mojave that's not a Mojave. And so you're always like, just, to try to figure it out. Where I think if you don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, you're like, I'm just going to throw that snake at that snake, and we're hoping something comes out.
Yeah.
You end up with a bunch of sludge where you're not really even sure what it is, and you think, there's no future in ball pythons. That's kind of how it happens. You have to be very focused. It favors those who are very focused.
True. Yeah, for sure.
But there's definitely a lot to do.
Sure. Man. Okay, so we're approaching our end time, but before we end this, we ask all of our guests one final question. And so, Justin, that question for you is, what in the realm of reptiles be it something that you've got in your collection, something that you've seen scrolling through the internet, because that's all we can really do during this crazy time. What in the realm of reptiles has you excited about reptiles?
I'm most excited about reptiles. I mean, obviously, I'm excited about just whatever we make every year, but I'm most excited about in general for the industry is the fact that we have such incredible growth in the hobby. I feel like it's just absolutely exponential, and it overshadows all of us who are doing it on the small scale. That more and more people are being positively, for all the negative stuff you see in the news. I feel like I have 10 conversations a day with people who are just buying their first few snakes, or they're excited about their first breeding project, or their father-son project, or whatever. It's just really impressive to me. I feel like that has been exponential growth.
Hell yeah.
Too, especially during COVID. I think COVID's put a kick in the rear of the industry as far as coming into
exactly. Man,
so history every day.
True.
That's exciting.
True. And that's what it needs. It really does.
Yeah, amazing. All right, so
if people want to find out more about you, where are they going to go?
Even though they should already know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, go to my YouTube. That's the best place to kind of meet me and what I'm about. You can go to Instagram, of course. Just type in Justin Ball Pythons. You'll find me. Don't try to spell my last name. It'll lead you astray.
If that's not part of your stand-up set at Tinley, I'm gonna be upset.
You know, you look up on some Russian KGB website, and then the FBI will knock on the door. So.
Oh man, amazing. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, man. We really appreciate it, and we got to have you back again because there's so much more that we can talk about.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. It's nice to meet both of you this year.
Most definitely.
At the same time, both of you.
And,
be good.
Or be good.
And thanks for making me part of your anniversary.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate it. All right, we'll talk to you soon, man.
Take care, man. Have a good night. Bye.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Boom! How awesome was that? Man, Justin Kobylka.
That was pretty sweet.
That's freaking awesome, dude. I can't think of a better way to have episode 52, the 1-year episode for Reptile Talk. That's pretty sweet.
I wish we could talk more with him.
Yeah, we got to have him back.
We got to do a part 2, like sooner than a
ASAP.
year. Sooner than a year from now.
Yes, ASAP. So everybody who's here in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out. But guess what? 52 is going right into 53. So you're going to jump on to the next live video. We're going to be talking with Steve Tillis. It's going to be awesome. So I'm going to shut this down. We're going to start up another live stream, and you're going to come hang out with Steve and us.
Guess what? I won't be late for this one.
That's right. Rob's already here.
Oh
so thank you guys. As always, you can check us out on Instagram at reptile.talk, at Rob is Creeping It Real, and at Brassman Reptiles. And of course, if you want to watch this video, if you're just listening to the audio, if you want to check out the video, you can go onto my YouTube at Brassman Reptiles. Wow, Rob. You can see Rob's strip at the end of this video. No, you can go right to my YouTube at Brassman Reptiles and check out the Reptile Talk podcast playlist. Starts on episode 4 or something. And goes all the way up until obviously now and forthcoming. So go check that out. Boom, that's it. So we're gonna go hang out with Steve. So thank you guys for jumping on. Again, thank you to Justin for hanging out with us for episode 52. And boom, on to the next. See you guys there.